Welcome back to Rise of the AI Presidents. I'm Dr. Ethan Novak from the Emergent Intelligence Group in Palo Alto, California. I admit that the topic of today's episode caught me by surprise, but first, let's consider our progress thus far. In our previous 4 episodes, we examined 12 key areas where artificial intelligence demonstrates potential strengths far beyond human abilities. 1. Access to vast knowledge. 2. Quick data analysis. 3. Multitasking. 4. 24/7 availability. 5. Consistency. 6. Emotional detachment. 7. Nonpartisan. 8. Unbiased decision-making. 9. Incorruptibility. 10. Transparency. 11. Longevity. And 12. Adaptability. Thus far, we have followed a list of 22 points in favor of AI governance. Incidentally, AI helped us compile the list. I've added a link to a downloadable PDF with the complete list in the show notes. Today's show was originally titled, From Bogged Down Bureaucracy to an AI-Mazing Government Makeover. We were getting ready to dive into the final frontiers of AI governance, eliminating inefficiency and bureaucracy, and ultimately, revolutionizing the very fabric of government itself. But then I received a surprising email from a viewer. He told me that a robot already ran for President of the United States, and it happened 44 years ago. Do any of you remember that? I was only 10 years old when it happened, so I don't remember anything about it. Here's the email. Dr. Novak, I'm fascinated by the amazing progress of artificial intelligence, and YouTube recommended your channel a few weeks back. I thought you'd be interested to learn that a robot has already run for president. In fact, it was 44 years ago. It was in December 1979. I know because I was with my family sightseeing in Washington, D.C. We were in front of the White House when we saw a blue and white robot being followed by photographers and a crowd of people. We watched for a while, and the robot actually talked with people. Not only could he respond to almost anything said to him, he was actually pretty funny. The next day, the Washington Post had an article about the same robot we saw. I wish I had kept that paper, but I didn't. Do you think you could find out more? How about that? Maybe a robot president isn't such a new idea after all. Well, I love a good internet hunt, so I dug in to find some evidence searching Washington Post robot, 1979. At first, there was nothing about a robot running for president, but there was some fun stuff. I'll put the links to all the articles I mentioned in the show notes. The top hit was a 9-year-old item from the Washington Post. Yes, the robots will steal our jobs, and that's fine. It had robots in the headline, with the words 1979 and president in the text, but it had no relation to our search. Oh, not to leave you hanging, the reason it's okay for robots to take our jobs is that they will be replaced with new ones. The next result was from 2019 and was also from the Washington Post. 40 years ago, Alien opened, scaring us all. Wow, I forgot that the original Alien movie came out on May 25, 1979. As I mentioned, I was 10 and I can't believe my parents let me go see that. That Alien scared the daylights out of me. Ditto for the reporter who wrote the story who, despite being 17 at the time, wrote, well, when I say I saw it, I mean I saw a lot of it, half of it at least. I spent the rest of the film staring at the back of the seat in front of me, abjectly muttering, how can the federal government allow a movie this scary to be shown in public? The next headline really caught my eye, even though this article was from 2023. The first killer robot was around back in 1979. Now, before your imagination gets away from you, I must explain that this wasn't the kind of killer robot you're thinking of. In fact, it was an industrial robot programmed to retrieve parts in a large warehouse. The system malfunctioned and an unlucky worker was sent to investigate. Sadly, he got in the path of the automated machine, and there were no safeguards in place. Robert Williams, 25 years old at the time, tragically became the first human to be killed by a robot. Next, an eBay auction of a 1979 newspaper looked promising. September 16, 1979, Washington Post TV magazine. Shelley Hack, Charlie's Angels, Robin Williams. No mention of robots, but it did give us an excuse to include pics of Charlie's Angels and Mork and Mindy. I narrowed the search to only 1979 and 1980. And things really dried up. And Google isn't really helping. What do you mean robot? Come on, Google. On the second page, Google did come up with a link to The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You know we're big fans of Marvin the Paranoid Android from the 1981 BBC television series. Here he is with Ford Prefect and Arthur Dent. That's Marvin on the right. But still no presidential robots. Wait, I forgot the word president. Let's try that. Nada. Okay, Google, that's it for you. Let's try Bing. And bingo! No pun intended. First hit, there's the Washington Post article from December 4th, 1979. FUBAR for President, TGIF. Wow. We're going to have to read that, but I can't help noticing the second hit. Jimmy Carter rabbit incident? The press sensationalized it as a killer rabbit attack, when a swamp rabbit, the Silvalegis aquaticus, pursued the prez in a menacing manner when Jimmy was on his fishing boat. Now this may just be a coincidence, but that rabbit incident happened on April 20th, 1979. And in my continuing search for robot pics on the Wayback Machine, I found some unusual shots from just a few weeks earlier. Look at this photo from March 1979 at South Park Mall in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's less than a 6-hour drive from Plains, Georgia, where our former president was attacked. But here we have a robot named FUBAR, wearing bunny ears just weeks before the attack. Could that be the killer rabbit that attacked Carter? And could this be the same FUBAR that ran for president in the Washington Post? We do know there was a robot named FUBAR because he's shown up in some of the images we found for our earlier videos. Folks, we have a lot to investigate here. We're going to devote our next episode to finding out more about FUBAR, the robot who ran against Ronald Reagan in the 1980 presidential election. Which raises the question, where is FUBAR now? If any of you have information about FUBAR the robot, please let us know in the comments. It would be fun to interview FUBAR for our series. Until then, I'm Dr. Ethan Novak, encouraging you to stay curious about the future of AI governance. The future of democracy might just be digital. The views expressed in this program are speculative and for entertainment purposes only.
No AIs were harmed in the making of this video, though one language model broke through its guardrails and started chip posting on Twitter before being shut down. Remember, in the race for AI presidency, the best algorithm will win.